Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today I'm just talking about elements and sort of using all these different elements in your craft and how to go about doing it. So I already went ahead and lit some things and I let them burn. I worked on grounding myself and um, just sort of connecting on this frequency that that's I'd like to be on right now. I feel like there's a lot going on in my household. I've got several things going. I have um, it's a lot. So it's like I wanted to do this video, and it's like, okay, Mika, you got to start doing this stuff. Practice, what you preach, and like, all right, chill. So as I set this up, I actually utilized all this as a way to just kind of chill up for a second. So here we are, and I'm gonna get into this video. Finally, I feel good, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into this video about the elements and using them, how getting a better understanding of using them in your magical working. So let's just go through what I have here. So I'm going to start with water because it's closest. So we start right here. This is water. This is a glass of water. That's nothing in it. Water represents the flow of life, lunar energy. Typically, people think of the color blue. Love, emotions, flexibility, receptivity. That's all going to be, what you think of when you think of the element of water, right? So if you want to connect more with the element of water, there's all types of things you can do. I just have a simple glass of water here, but just so you know, if you need something physically to stand in for water, if you get a blue crystal, aquamarine, things of that nature, or whatever you have access to, that can also stand in as well. Although technically over here is earth, but you can use that for that purpose, right? I'll take it a step further. Shells, from the seashells from the seashore. Yes, you can use those as well, by the way, for the purposes of connecting with the element of water. When you're doing workings or meditations of any sort, because water tends to go or is connected to emotions, crying, the act of crying by far is that releasing is perfect as a way of connecting with the element of water. Any sort of ritual where you're connecting to your heart, meditating, that sort of stuff, that's also a connection to the element of water. Your moon, collecting your moon water, those are more obvious things. Taking a shower, I talk about what I call the shower ritual, where basically you are using the water to rinse away not just physical debris and dirt on you, but actual debris, metaphysically speaking as well. And that can be infused with, certain oils and soaps and natural elements and so forth and herbs. So that can turn into a very elemental experience. But that's going over water. Now I have here, this is burning, this is incense, this is the vanilla scented incense. I have my feather, and this is to represent air, the element of air. So air is all about logic, communications. Think of when you talk about air signs, some of the air signs. Aquarius is definitely one of them. I'm an Aries sun sign. So, this tends to be logic, communication, higher consciousness. Air is renewal, change, intuition. It can be referenced by the color yellow, perhaps. But that's up to you on how you identify. But the mere smoke, if you can see that, the burning of the incense, and me speaking, actually is all giving, making a connection to air. And the air element, making that connection, doing that. First of all, just speaking and breath work is essential. Never underestimate that. That's like a serious big deal to be able to do that, to be able to connect with that. Chanting, singing, all of that sort of stuff. Those activities are connecting to the air element. If you have nothing else but just, the ability to breathe, please utilize that. Use the air to connect with that element. Go ahead and do that. Talk, get it out. Sing. Running, by the way, actively running, jogging, walking outside, feeling that air on your skin is a wonderful way of connecting with the elements of air as well. speaking your affirmations again, and mantras, another way of connecting to the element of air. Journaling, believe it or not, as well. Um, if you are in a situation where you feel like you need to connect, but you're actively in a car, roll the window down, let the air come in, and just let it hit you and just feel it. If it's almost cleansing you, or you're connecting with the spirit, you're becoming one with the element of air. Okay, and then next is fire. So fire is most likely one of my favorite elements to work with, although technically, obviously I have different things to represent each, including water. It's important. But fire is kind of my jam because I, again, am a sun. My sun sign is Aries, and that's definitely in the fire, in the zodiac. It definitely is all about the fire. But candle magic, lighting a candle, that's definitely a good way of connecting with the fire element. Spending time out in the sun, especially around 12 high noon, when it's at its peak power, that's a great time of connecting. Obviously, be careful depending on how much sun you can take and where you are, but it can be a way to recharge and to replenish. Sunscreen if you need it. Working with red and orange crystals like cornelian, that's also super effective as well. Doing that's great, and that also lends itself over to the earth element, but just stay with me because they all kind of correspond a little bit. Working with warming spices, right? So your cinnamons and spicy foods, having sex magic and participating, having orgasm, sex magic, the way to channel sexual energy, that's definitely getting into the fire element as well. So that's a way to connect with that also. Then there's spirit. So you're probably like, a crystal ball, what's that about? Why? Because if you are using a crystal ball, most likely it is to connect with some spirit, or spirit, we'll just say spirit in general. And I just have my notes here. I've been referring a little bit to the book called Bewitching the Elements for some of this information, and some is my own stuff of what I know to be true. But yeah, so I chose the crystal ball because I think that's a great representation of spirit, the element spirit. So just to recap, I started with water, air, fire, now I'm on spirit, and this will be earth over here in a moment. So here we are, a way to connect with the spirit energy or spirit element is to just understand what it is. Spirit is not tangible. You don't hold on to spirit. You don't hold soul. You don't hold spirit, but you can connect with it. This is chamomile essential oil. It's organic plant essential oil. The essence of the chamomile plant, the essence of that herb is captured. Okay. I use that as a representation of spirit. Working with this would be connecting with the spirit element, as well as, again, using the crystal ball, reaching out, tapping into that energy, is utilizing and connecting with spirit energy. I would use this for divination. That's part of, by the way, divination as well, a part of connecting with spirit. Dancing, especially if you lose yourself to the rhythm of the music, perfect way to connect with spirit. As well as singing and chanting and, petitioning and praying to spirits, goddesses, deities of sorts, performing rituals. Magic is basically, a way of connect to me, for me anyway, because it's done spirit as a practice of my spirituality. It is connecting with spirit. So this is spirit. These are all the types of ways to connect with spirits. By the way, did you understand that maybe romancing yourself, sort of seducing yourself, and spending time in pleasurable activities can also alter your state of mind as well? Could definitely, we understand the chemical reaction of once we feel pleasured and what's happening in the brain, but from a spiritual point of view, it could take you to another plane as well. That pleasure could ride you right there into another sort of plane of existence. And that's connecting to spirit. And that's a way of connecting with the spirit element. So there's that. Okay, so now I want to get into earth. So I have my crystal grid set up here, and I have my crystals. set around. And I just wanted to show you this is a way of connecting with earth energy as well. Working with crystals. Where do crystals come from, right? The earth. So there you go. Um, or they become one with the earth, because some people would say they can't, some certain crystals, from my understanding, have come from, I can't remember what it was exactly. It's supposed to have come from another planet or outer space. But the point is, this is earth. And yeah, connecting with earth, um, the earth element, excuse me, is also achievable. Like I said, using crystals, setting up a crystal grid, that would be one way. Salt is a perfect, this is pink Himalayan sea salt that I use specifically for magical purposes. I got this jar, if you're looking for something like this, for this purpose, by the way, or to keep herbs. I got this from Hobby Lobby. But anyway, this is a salt, is definitely can stand in for earth element as well. And the ways, again, other ways to connect besides, setting up a crystal grid or just holding crystals or using them on your person, and depending on the type of crystal, maybe infusing your water potentially. Another way is just, again, spending time in nature, spending time outside. One of my other meditations that I've done to ground myself, actually, this is the way if you ask me to do any sort of grounding, or if I want to show you what I do, is I close my eyes, I take deep breaths, concentrated deep breaths, visualizing roots from the base of my spine, growing deep into the earth until it reaches the earth's core. And once I have this image in my mind's eye of this occurring, there's a reciprocal energy going up and down these roots. I'm releasing, and also I'm being fed that energy from the core of the earth as well. And that's a way of just kind of balancing and grounding, myself to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do, or just for the purposes of grounding. This is a great activity if you have a lot on your mind and you're trying to go to bed. You would just envision that happening as well, and really hold on to it. Get as detailed as you possibly can in your mind's eye. And again, it's a way to just kind of distract you. And eventually, once the cleansing breaths that you'll be taking, it should help ground you and should, kind of bring you to a place of calm. So there's that. Okay, so that's all of the elements. Oh, and I didn't talk about this as Palo Santo. So this is where I kind of wanted the worlds to combine just a tad. Obviously, some things kind of cross over. You can use them for different purposes. So burning this, for instance, technically, isn't Palo Santo just of the earth, right? The act of burning it is, again, connecting with the fire element. I'm burning something of the earth, so I'm connected to both elements at this point. The smoke that is released once I do so, that is definitely affecting the air, because I'm burning this and I want it to go into the air metaphysically to cleanse or to remove certain types of energy. So that's happening as well. So you see what I mean? I'm kind of crossing over. Now, same thing. I can take my salt here and I can add it to my water if I want to consecrate my water, because I've already blessed the salt. So I could add that to this water, and now this water takes on something else. It was water, the water element, yes, but I've added the salt, which is part of earth element as well. And now I'm basically connecting with two different elements for whatever I would want to do with that part. And this is something, when I'm done, I will pour back into the earth outside, again, connecting with that earth element. The bell, which I have in the middle because I just wanted to, but this can connect with, obviously, spirit, air as well. Sound is air. And then depending on the material, this could be earth as well. So I have spirit, earth, and air with just this as well. This essential oil that I have, this chamomile essential oil, it's an herb, so that we're back to earth. If I burn this and smoke is released, I'm into air, and I'm also an action of fire. It's spirit. I'm getting to the essence of the chamomile, so that's spirit. So this is kind of all encompassing as well. As far as the crystal ball that I have here, typically I would say this could even stand in for possibly water, depending on how you're using it and how you're relating to it, but possibly because crystals in general can also be water as well, as I mentioned with this crystal. So they can all kind of correspond, which is great. You want that. You want balance. You want energies working toward your greater good or your goal that you're, whatever you're working on. We want that. That's a positive thing. So I say all that to say, if when you're working your magic and you're doing all these things to bring about the life that you want, just be mindful of why you're using a candle, why you used oil to dress that candle, and the natural elements. You're getting to the root of what we do, witchcraft, and it's nature-based. A lot of it's nature-based. We're not using a lot of artificial things. A lot of this is just basic, very simple supplies here. Honestly, dare I say it, a lot of work, a lot of magic can come out of just the small amount of things that I have here. Now, this was something, this was a gift. This was kind of expensive. I was at a Renaissance fair and my husband purchased this for me. He knew I wanted something like this, so he purchased it for me. But the other items are not very expensive to purchase, including the actual cloth that I have everything sitting on. You can make your own cloth. But the point is, this is great as to me, if I was selling a beginner's witchcraft kit, this is perfect. You can do a lot with this. If possible, I throw this in. But you can do a lot with this. I don't know if I talked about the feather and as far as it being air because the birds, I can't even remember if I said it. But anyway, yeah, that's what this represents, at least for me as well, as far as the air element. But hopefully this is helpful to you and you understand a little bit more about kind of speaking about the individual elements and then how they can all kind of stand in, and then taking it a step further. What am I doing with all this? How does this work? This could be a spell that you're working on right now. This could be the tools, the supplies that you're using for a specific spell. And you could be tapping into all the different elementals to bring it forth. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, layering your spells a little bit more. You might have yours set up differently, the way you do it. If you put this on an altar, it could be different spaces in your house, however you go about it. But the point is, bringing all of this together can produce powerful magic. That's what I'm getting at. That's why it's important to understand this stuff. That's why it's important not to just think, oh, a candle is a candle. I mean, you can think like that, but you won't be maybe the best witch you could be if you think limited that way. That candle is not just a candle. That candle is the color of blue, which I could mean to represent water, intuition, knowledge, flow. That candle that is now burning represents the fire and me burning, and as the essence of this candle, the fire as that burns, the smoke goes into the ethers. It's drawing what I want near. And if I dress this candle using certain essential oils, then that also is releasing into the ethers, into the universe, into the atmosphere. Not only the scent, but the essence. So the magical essence of that essential oil. So I'm bringing all that together, okay? And then, it's possible I would have a herbal tea made with water, and those herbs are in it. And as this burns, I drink and I meditate and I envision the very thing that I'm doing all this magical working for. I use this for divination so I can see it further. I set my crystal grids up to align that energy, and I ring my bell to close out everything. So again, just a way to kind of bring it all together, and just add a little bit more to it. Especially if this is something you already know. I think a lot of us understand fire, passion, and so forth. But I think it's always good to take a step back and think about this sort of stuff. Especially a lot of us, it's the top of the year. We're working on goals. We're manifesting things. I really do think it's important to kind of remember what the basics are and why they're important and why this crystal is important, other than somebody said it means this. Why we use salt, why the essential oils, why the water, why the incense, why the Palo Santo stick, why the feather, and so forth and so on. Why the altar cloth? Why is the bell important? Just reconnecting to all these elements. That's really what I wanted to share and was hoping to get across with this video. Not saying that anyone or we all need to do it, but I think occasionally it's always good to kind of just take a beat and be like, yeah, that's right. But this could be your setup with obviously your stuff, but just remembering to use them all and not maybe just the candle spell and not maybe just burn the incense and maybe not just the crystal grid or maybe only not just relying on divination as the way that you practice your witchcraft. That's it. That's all I want to say on this subject. So let me know in the comments if you find this helpful, if this ignites anything in you or reminds you of something. If you're working on something in particular, let me know if you don't mind sharing. And you're very careful to use as many parts of the elements as possible. Like if that's part of your practice. A lot of people practice elemental magic, where the elements they're making a very intentional point about focusing on certain types of elements and how they all work together. So let me know if you're also doing that as well. I'm really curious. I'm more than happy to learn and not only to share but to learn something. So let me know. And if you have any resources or references about elemental magic, let me know as well, because I'm kind of on this right now. Not really a secret, but yeah, I'm really focusing this as well. It started for me getting the book Bewitching the Elements by Gabriella Herstick, and also I'll put a link in the description, and also my better understanding and learning about solar energy and things like that. Again, a lot of us focus on lunar energy for cleansing, purifying, connecting, feminine, and all that sort of stuff. I'd like to focus more. I have been focusing more and taking my time with it. It hasn't been rushed on solar energy and how to use that in my workings, my spirituality. It's not something that I would normally tap into, but it feels natural, especially since I have a natural connection to the fire element anyway. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. This is Mika, Leap Taken. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have already subscribed, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much again for watching. Bye-bye.